sometimes we overcomplicate things. As humans, we just make it super complicated. Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, Hugh. So I have a trader that I'm working with, and he is asking about, like, he's got all this information, all these courses, all these ideas, and he's really kind of feeling overwhelmed. And so, the question is, what should I be focusing on right now? So what would you tell a trader who comes to you and says, look, I've got all this going on. I've got all these systems, like all these ideas, and I've got all these courses and this and that. What should I do? What do I'm stuck. I'm overwhelmed. What do I do?
Yeah, no, that's the common question, right? That's what everybody faces. And I think it really comes down to, like, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want trading to be for you? Do you want to be day trading for like 2 hours a day, or do you want to be swing trading by looking at your charts 15 minutes, every day? Or something in between. So I think it really comes down to that. And like we talked about in the last episode, do you want these small wins and an occasional huge winner, or do you want like consistent smaller winners? And then that's the easiest way to filter it out. And once you figure out what you want out of it, then it's really easy to filter down. Okay, this course is no good. This course is no good. This course trades the London session. I'm sleeping during that time. And then it really allows you to whittle down to what you're looking for. And within what you're looking for, there's usually a very small universe of trading systems or trading methods. And I think that really helps to eliminate a lot of the noise out there. What do you think?
Yeah, what I told him, I said, look, you just focus on one thing. And there are entire hedge funds that are built on one idea, right? And they've been around for decades. And I said, look, this idea of like being a well-rounded trader or whatever, I understand where that comes from, but you can also get confused by getting, too many inputs and too much information from all these different things. So I tell this story about one of my trading mentors that I first started working with. He was into martial arts, and it's really funny. Like he did kendo. Kendo is the Japanese art of like the sword. So the bamboo sword that they had. Yeah. So he had apparently he had like this really famous sensei, like really famous in kendo. Okay, but then he would move to San Diego. So he started doing kendo in San Diego, and he found another sensei and stuff. And the sensei was really impressed with who his sensei was. So he went the first day, and I don't know what you call them, kendo practitioners or whatever. They were all kendoists or whatever you say. They were all lining up, and they were doing these drills. And the sensei would ask my mentor, he said, "Do you know this drill?" And my mentor was like, "No, sorry." And then everyone would do the drill, and he would watch them. And then the sensei said, "Do you know this drill?" And my mentor's like, "No, sorry." And so everyone else would go and do the drill and everything. And this went on until the end. And at the end of it, they actually they did a thing where they struck something. Like they took the thing and they go whack, right? And so he said, "Can you do this?" And my mentor was like, yeah, sure. So everyone lined up, and they all did it. And they all whacked it. And so my mentor, when he did it, he went out there with the sword and went whack, and the whole crowd, everyone there was like, "Oh," and then they all said, "Oh, Sensei Yamamoto." Oh, they're all like, "Oh, this guy is a student from Sensei Yamamoto," or whatever the guy's name was. It was so funny. He said, but this is the lesson, and this is what I was telling my trader friend. I said, "Look, buddy, all he worked on with his sensei was the strike, right? The strike. He didn't do all these fancy drills and this and that, and he was just good at that." You know what I mean? And that was bloody good enough. You know what I mean? It's the same with trading. You could use trend lines. Honestly, you can build an empire on trend lines, or you could build an empire on trend following with moving averages. Like you can. Literally, traders have done it. Funds have done this. So the reason, getting all overwhelmed and everything, no, just focus on one thing, get really super good at it, then maybe move on to the next thing. So that was my story about what, to me, what makes sense and what, and sometimes we overcomplicate things. As humans, we just make it super complicated. Like you said, what do you want to look, what do you want your life to look like? Do you want to sit in front of the screen from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning? Or do you want to check your charts when you wake up at 8:39 and check your charts when you go to bed at 10:30, 11? How do you, like, what's going on here, right? Do you want to have all these trades running at the same time? Or are you okay with having a couple accounts, couple of trades open, couple of different systems, and that's it? It really depends on what you're trying to do here. Are you trying to qualify for like a prop firm? So I know a lot of traders are doing that now. They're qualifying for a prop firm, and they're like, I say, well, what are the strings attached? Because when you're trading someone else's money, there's always strings attached, right? So they're going to have these rules, like it has to be this, this, and that, right? Doesn't matter whose money it is. If it ain't your money, you don't make up the rules. So they have to work around that and to qualify, and they got to work within the box of the system. So all that stuff is something to consider. I just find it fascinating how. But when I first started trading, there were no books on Forex. There's one book on Forex, okay? And now there's like all this stuff. Like, it's so easy to get confused. Like, how do I trade cryptos or Forex or shares, or what do I do, and this and that? There's so much out there right now. It's amazing to me, like, because I was literally seeking fundamental or technical tools, technical analysis tools, and I was pulling up these old, technical books for like trading shares. Like the old GAN books and the old books from the 70s and 80s and stuff. I was pulling up all this weird stuff. Like, I made point and figure charts and stuff. Like, I did all this stuff. I got graph paper, like big sheets of graph paper. So, it was really interesting. And now it's the opposite, where it's like there's no shortage. There's so much out there. Although my friend, he went to China, and he said he did a talk with traders in China. And you know what the number one thing they were like? We need systems. We need systems. That's what they were telling him. So they needed like the stuff translated so that they could get into the systems. They just didn't know. They didn't know how to approach the markets. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they're behind. You know what I mean? They're like behind us, like 20 years or whatever. Like where they're just kind of like they need the systems, and so I'm sure it's filtering through now. But it's just really interesting that was the number one thing. Like, we need systems. I guess in a sense, you could argue that the average English-speaking trader or Spanish-speaking trader would be the same. Like, I want a system, because they're always looking for a newer, better system. But I just found that interesting. Like, the way he said this story was like they had no systems. You know what I mean? Maybe they just, Maybe they just had thrown away 15 systems the last 3 months, or whatever. Like,
well, there might be some truth to that, right? Because of the Chinese firewall or whatever. So, and there could be some truth to that. So if you know Chinese, business opportunity. Translate systems.
Yeah. Translate some systems. Get some videos going and just dub over them. Yeah. Get some, yeah.
Yeah, like those kung fu movies. Right?
Yeah. Moving average. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Walter.
Yeah, so fun. All right. See ya.
Yeah.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.